Your scans are normal, your doctor says you're healing, but you are still in pain. Maybe things that shouldn't hurt do, or maybe the pain moves around inexplicably, or maybe you've tried to explain it and the words just don't come out right. Today we're getting into the pain that's hardest to explain, and we are putting some names to it. My name's Larissa, and this is the Concussion Crew, a place where we make concussion recovery a little less confusing and a lot more human. This is part of my ongoing medical terminology series. We've been working through the vocabulary of concussion recovery, one topic at a time. You don't need to have watched the other videos in order to follow along with this one. And my standard disclaimer, I am sharing this information from my own personal experience and my own personal research, not as a medical professional. Think of this as a little bit of a translation tool, not a diagnosis. Okay, let's get into it. There's something that happens when you live with chronic pain that is hard to explain to the people who don't live with it. You kind of stop mentioning it. Not because it's gone away, but because mentioning it constantly is exhausting for you, for the other person. It changes how people look at you. And it takes up so much of your frickin' life. You just want one conversation that is not about how much you hurt or what the consequences of grabbing a coffee with a friend are going to be. You know, when someone says, "But you look fine," and you say, "Yeah, I know." And they say, "But you never complain." Yeah, because I'm in pain all the time. Different levels of pain, different kinds of pain, but I am in pain all of the time. And I don't want to complain about it every day, but that doesn't mean that it's not still there. Now, a lot of you already know this, and I'm just reiterating it because the terms that we're covering today aren't just clinical vocabulary. It's not just a tool to help you communicate better with your doctor and understand them more clearly. This is language for experiences and feelings that are genuinely difficult to put into words. And I think that having that language makes it easier to explain yourself to your doctor, but also the rest of the people in your life. Okay, term number 1, referred pain. This one explains so much, at least for me. Referred pain is pain that is felt in a different location than its actual source. Your body sends the signal to your brain from one place, but your brain interprets it as coming from a completely different place. And here's an example that most of us know. During a heart attack, pain is often felt down the left arm, even though the heart is the source of the pain. That's referred pain. After a concussion, this shows up constantly. For me, it looks like pain at the back of my head that connects to my eye. It's running from the occipital nerves at the base of my skull. The neck tension that travels down into your arm or into your shoulder blade, that's often referred pain to, or a related phenomenon called radiculopathy. That's where nerve irritation sends sensation traveling down the nerve's path. That's why treating just where it hurts doesn't always work. If the source is somewhere else, that's where the treatment needs to go. So if you go into your RMT or your physio and you say, "My arm hurts," and they start working on your neck, trust them. If you've ever felt like your pain was playing one of those shell games, it's over here, and no, now it's over here, and now it's in a completely different place, referred pain might be part of the explanation. And it is definitely worth mapping that out for your care team. Allodynia is term number 2 that we're talking about today, and that's where things that shouldn't cause you pain do. Light touch, a soft fabric against your skin, a hug, just the weight of your own hair on your scalp. Things that a healthy nervous system would register as neutral or even pleasant, your nervous system is reading as painful. I couldn't get my hair cut after the accident, so I started growing out my hair. It was just easier, and I didn't even make it into a bob. It was just pulling on my head. It was the worst. We ended up using clippers to take care of my hair at home because I just couldn't manage it. After a concussion, allodynia is far more common than people realize, and it's one of the most disorienting symptoms to experience. It doesn't make logical sense. You know that a light touch should not hurt, and it does. And we're not talking about, you were hit in the head and it hurts to touch that. We're talking about your hand, your arm, other places hurt. That disconnect can make you feel like you're imagining things. It can make you feel like you're going crazy. It can make you feel like there is something very wrong. I am very broken. You are not imagining it. You are not blowing things out of proportion. Allodynia is a real documented pain response. It happens when the nervous system becomes hypersensitized and starts misclassifying pain signals. It's closely connected to centralized sensitization. I'm going to link to the video where we talk about the nervous system and centralized sensitization right here. Naming it matters because allodynia responds to specific treatments. And if you don't name it, those treatment options don't come up. Talk to your doctor. I want to be very careful with term number 3 because I think it gets used in ways that are harmful. And I want to give you a more honest picture of what it means. We're talking about pain catastrophizing. Pain catastrophizing clinically refers to a pattern of thinking where pain feels overwhelming and inescapable or completely unmanageable. It includes feeling helpless about your pain or ruminating on it, just fixating on it, and magnifying not the pain, but how scary it feels, how threatening it feels. And here's where I would like to push back a little on how this term gets used. If you have been in significant pain for months or even years with limited answers and limited relief, some degree of fear and helplessness around that pain is not irrational. It is a completely understandable response to an incredibly difficult situation. Pain catastrophizing is not a flaw. It is not weakness. It is a pain response pattern that can develop when the entire nervous system has been under a crap ton of stress for an extended period of time, and it is treatable. The reason that it matters clinically is that catastrophizing can actually amplify pain signals. There's a feedback loop between the psychological experience of pain and the physical intensity of pain, which means that addressing the thought patterns is a legitimate part of pain management. And this is not a way of saying that pain is all in your head. Brains are incredible, and thinking about pickles can make your mouth salivate. Our thoughts have an impact on the way our body feels and responds. If your provider has used this term with you, ask them what they meant by it and what support they're offering to address it. This should open a door, not close one. And it should definitely not make you feel worse about how you feel. Let's talk about pain scales. The standard pain scale, rate your pain on a scale from 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, is one of the most used tools, and it's also one of the most imperfect tools. And I say that not to criticize the people who are using it, because it is a really good, useful tool, but understanding its limitations actually takes a lot of the pressure off of you and off of me. Here's the core problem. 7 is vague, and your 7 might not look like my 7, and maybe even my 7 on a Tuesday night after dinner is not quite the same as a 7 on a Thursday morning when I woke up after a night of bad sleep. And the pain scale doesn't account for the type of pain, the location. Is it in 2 locations? Do you do each separately, or do you do an overall, and do you add those numbers together and divide by 2? Like, how does this work? It doesn't talk about what makes it better, what makes it worse, how hard is it to function outside of the pain threshold. How is it a affecting your ability to function. So when your doctor asks you to rate your pain on a scale from 1 to 10 and you freeze, that's not a you problem, that's a tool problem. Here's what I've found more useful: building my own reference points. Think about what a 0 means to you. Genuinely no pain. Not the lowest pain you've felt since this whole nonsense started. Think about what a 10 means. The worst that you have ever felt. And then fill in the middle based on your lived experience. What does 4 look like for you? Can you make dinner? Can you scroll on your phone? Do you have to cancel plans? Anchoring the numbers to your real functioning makes them so much more useful for both you and your care team. Now, 10 seconds of sales. I have an Etsy shop. I built a pain scale printable. It has 6 different ways of looking at the pain scale based on things that you can accomplish. I compare it to sound. I compare it to types of animal attacks, because one vague scale has never been enough for me. It pairs really well with my Google Sheet symptom tracker, which, if you will indulge me for 20 seconds, I'm going to show you a quick overview right now. This is the tracker. I want to show you how it actually works because I use this myself and it makes doctor's appointments more productive. There's a daily tracking sheet where you can log up to 5 symptoms and rate them each day. Simple, low overwhelm, takes about 30 seconds. And then there's a summary sheet that auto tallies your ratings over time. You don't have to do any math, you don't have to do anything in the spreadsheet. It does it for you. There's also a missed days tracker for work or school, because that's real data that your doctor needs and that rarely gets captured anywhere. And then this is the part that I'm most proud of. There is a doctor's printout sheet. You print it, you bring it to your appointment. It shows your symptom ratings over the last 3 months. It does a 30, 60, and 90-day comparison, and it has a line graph so that your doctor can actually see your trajectory at a glance. I made this because I kept leaving appointments feeling like I had not communicated effectively with my doctor. Now I walk in with the receipts. Both of these are listed below, and I also linked the tutorial video for the Google Sheet just so that you can see how the whole thing functions. I do a step-by-step walkthrough so that you can get an idea of what it's like before you invest. And if not, that's okay too. Create your own chart, create your own pain scale, and make this tool work for you. Since you made it this far, you deserve a discount code. Pain Scale 20. That's going to give you 20% off either the Pain Scale printable or the Google Sheet symptom tracker. Or both. No expiry, no pressure. They'll be there when you're ready. Thank you so much. It's been 2 years of making these videos and it feels really weird to be doing something salesy. Thank you for still being here. If today's episode gave you language to explain something you've been struggling with, or made you just feel a little less alone in how freaking hard and complicated and confusing this type of invisible pain can be, that's why these videos are here. Save this video, share it with someone who's been told, "Oh, but you look fine." And if you'd like more tools for navigating recovery, you can check out the free resources on my website. I've got free printables on a variety of topics, and that's going to be linked below as well. Thank you so much for being here. You are not alone living with pain that is hard to describe, hard to explain, and hard for anyone else to see.